Take 5 with TNI. I'm Representative Rick Larsen from the great state of Washington. I'm very excited to be here with the ranking member of the Coast Guard and Maritime Subcommittee, Salud Carbajal. Salud, can you share a little bit about your experience on the committee and what the Subcommittee on Coast Guard and Maritime has been up to?
Of course. It's been really productive, a productive time, should I say, to serve on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, as we were the starting point for the bipartisan infrastructure law, which already delivered over 34,000 projects across the country to address and revitalize our nation's crumbling infrastructure, invest in our ports and waterways, and upgrade transit, and much, much more. But the subcommittee that I've been the top Democrat on now for over 2 years has been especially productive. We passed laws to combat supply chain disruptions, improve passenger vessel safety, and crack down on sexual assault and harassment in our maritime industry.
Yeah, that's really important, especially that last part. And the committee is responsible for making our coast safe and secure, as well as ensuring that the maritime industry runs efficiently. And to that point, the subcommittee was able to get the Ocean Shipping Reform Act out of committee, out of subcommittee, out of committee, and into law. Can you tell us a little bit about the Ocean Shipping Reform Act?
I love to. The bipartisan Ocean Shipping Reform Act was signed into law last June and was one of the first pieces of legislation to address the supply chain crisis that was driving up costs and impacting so many American families. Once it was signed into law by President Biden, we were able to address unfair market practices and safeguard transportation, or should I say transparent and equitable maritime commerce. That really went a long way.
You know, we saw some of these supply chain issues manifest themselves on the West Coast. In my district, we had not as many as, say, off the coast of where you live, but we had ships anchored, unable to unload, and the supply chain crisis really showed itself down in Southern California with dozens of ships anchored down there. Can you talk a little bit about how these supply chain issues were alleviated and maybe resolved?
Absolutely. Well, this bill was really focused on empowering the Federal Maritime Commission, or the FMC, to take further action to tackle the rising costs we were all seeing and experiencing. It gave the Commission authority to crack down on exploitative business practices and the high charges that the shipping companies were charging, which were raising prices for everyone, people like you and I and our families across the country. The Ocean Shipping Reform Act also places an emphasis on making sure shipping companies are maximizing the cargo space they have and prohibit discriminatory practices that limit the transfer of goods to and from the U.S.
Any other updates about how this law is being implemented, the impact of it?
It is really working. We are seeing less congestion at ports. We are seeing costs coming down. We've seen that the FMC has given back $700,000 in undue charges by carriers. It is really accomplishing the goals that it was intended to do.
That is, it's actually really great news to hear that a bill that we passed became law is doing exactly what we thought it was going to do and helping consumers as well.
Well, we know sometimes that is not the case, but in this case, we are hitting 100.
That's right. That's great. So this is all great news, but before we leave here today, I do have 5 lightning round questions for you. I don't know.
Are they hard questions?
They're very difficult questions.
All right, let's have them.
Now, I need you to be thinking rapid fire here.
Ready?
All right?
I'm ready.
In 3 words, and I know it's going to be difficult.
I can do it.
In 3 words, how would you describe the Ocean Shipping Reform Act?
Good for consumers.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Okay. What's your favorite mode of transportation?
Walking, because it's healthy and no emissions are involved.
Oh gosh, that's incredible. Why did you run for Congress?
To improve people's lives, like I would think most of us ran for Congress, or the reason for running.
That's great. The questions are rapid fire. You can take forever.
I'm ready.
What's your top priority for the Coast Guard Authorization Act?
To support coasties and make sure that they have an exceptional quality of life so they could fulfill their mission.
All right. Now you are the ranking member of the Coast Guard and Maritime Transportation Committee. You have also served in the Marines. And you are also on the Armed Services Committee that oversees all of our military services. What's the best branch of the military?
The United States military, period. All of them.
All right, I'll give it to you.
I was in the Marine Corps, so the Marines and the Coast Guard and the rest are exceptional as well.
That's great. Salud, thanks for having me come by your office. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ranking Member Larsen. I really appreciate your leadership and your collaboration with me on the T&I committee.
All right. Well, that's it for me. This is Take 5 with T&I with Ranking Member Rick Larsen and Ranking Member of the Coast Guard Maritime Transportation Subcommittee, Salud Carbajal. Thanks a lot.